Hi, good morning, and welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast. This is episode 499, and we're live here in Southwest Florida in my studio. Let's see, do I have my microphone on? Yeah. Okay, if you're joining me live, please say hello. I know it might take a few seconds to pop over from pre-chat or notifications. Let's see, somehow my desk isn't on the camera this morning. Let's see if we can get the desk on. There we go. A couple minutes late this morning because I was scrambling to finally get some yarn listed in the shop. I know everyone's been anxious for the new yarns, and the first yarn is dry, so it's now listed so you can be the first people to see it. Hi Joe, good morning. Good morning Luna and Carrie. Thanks for joining live. Hi Chantel and Carol, Cherie, Judy, Gay, Lucy. Good morning, Melissa. Hi, Carrie. If you're joining us live, please say hello. Hi, Terry and Pamela. If you end up watching the recorded version, please also feel welcome to say hello. Hi, Luna and Judy, Naomi, Donna. Thanks for joining live, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a nice weekend. Hi, Kathy. And what do you think the next thing is that I'm going to say? I worked all weekend. Hi, Emelinda. And someone asked for yarn with a little stretch. I'm guessing you're meaning something with wool in it. Yeah, I have 2 blends of merino wool and bamboo that are going to be dyed this week. They'll be out later in the week, I believe. And I might even be bringing in 100% extra fine merino wool soon, but still on the fence about that one. Or not on the fence, still working out, negotiating, figuring out how to bring it in. So if you're looking for animal fiber, which I think is what you mean by stretch, if I'm wrong, say so. But if you mean animal fiber, I do have Be So Cozy and Be So Toasty, which I do have a few colors in stock now. Those are merino wool and bamboo blended yarns, and I have a couple colors in stock right now, and I'll be dyeing a bunch more this week. Is that what you mean? Yep, but I'm not going to talk about the sneak peeks behind me today. Those we'll talk about on another day. But, oh good, Terry, that is what you were talking about. But I do have new colors of Be So Bold yarn to show you today. And really interesting technique in the way I dyed these yarns to work together. So I took 5 different colors and I dyed them all in tandem with other colors. See, do I have, you know what? I do have my board. I could draw this on the board. Let's see if I can get the board over here. I want to show you what I did because I think it'll make more sense then when I show you the colors. Let's see if I can bring it over here. I got a drawing board. Let's see if I can get it over here though, without knocking everything else over. Will that show up? Yeah, that'll show up. Okay, so let's grab a pen and we're going to draw 5 balls of yarn. So let's draw them as hanks, okay? How far down can I go and still show up on camera? 3, 4. All right, I didn't do that so evenly, but okay, so we'll write chili pepper here, then we'll write lime red, lime green here, and what went with lime green then? Oh, and then we'll write sapphire blue. Is this too low to see? You can see. Okay, sapphire blue, And then we go to steel gray. And then we go to orange peach. Okay, so those are the 5 colors that I chose as my main colors of dye this time. And I did it in 5 different configurations. So we did chili pepper red, a lime green, a sapphire blue, a steel gray, and an orange peach. So I'm going to line up. Here is where I dyed sapphire blue and steel gray. But what's really beautiful is the way I hand massage the colors together, so you get all that spectrum of color between steel gray and sapphire blue in the middles of it. So as I'm hand massaging the 2 colors together, they end up making all these other beautiful colors in the center. And so then from there, we use that same steel gray. So it's same dye lot. So they're going to match beautifully. So in that same dye lot of sapphire blue and steel gray, and that same steel gray, I dyed orange peach. This is the one I was telling you about that reminded me of that sunset we were at the beach the other day. These colors are what a stormy sunset starts to look like as it's going down. And then look at that spectrum of color in between the steel gray and the orangey peach. You get all those lighter peaches and lighter grays in the middle. And at the same time, if you were going to do some sort of color or some sort of combination work of 2 colors, you'll see that those grays match identically within those 2 colors. So imagine doing a cowl or a scarf so they're going to be variegated. This one's going to be variegated steel gray and orange peach, and this one's going to be variegated steel gray and sapphire blue. But it'll still look like a gradient in a way, because within that gray background, because gray is the common color between the 2, it'll go from blue to orange in the rest of it. Isn't that cool? So yeah, if you're doing a sweater or any type of a project where it required more than 2 balls, that variegated color, the secondary color will change even though the other color won't change. So it'll end up looking like a variegated color, or it'll end up looking more like a stripe in a way. So you could also alternate them every several rows to create a subtle stripe as well, because the gray will be the constant color. So going back to the drawing then, from that orange and from the orange peach and the steel gray, we go to chili pepper. So then we've got orange as the common color between the steel gray and the chili pepper. And this one has some beautiful colors in between as well. So this one goes from chili pepper to the orangey peach, and you can see all those beautiful softer colors in between them. And so that would be the color up here on the top of our diagram. But you can also see how beautiful it would go with the orange and gray, because orange is the common color then. Just like gray was the common color between the sapphire blue and the orange. So then you would go into orange being the common color between the gray and the chili pepper. So then chili pepper and orange is our next color. So our next color is chili pepper and lime green. This one turned out really beautiful as well. And I'll open it up so you can see this beautiful color change in there. The chili pepper turns into some oranges and peaches and even a soft creamy color before some really pale greens, and then into our lime green. And so then going back to seeing how it blends with the previous color, then this one also would go with this one, because now red is the common color. So we've got the orange and chili pepper red, and then chili pepper red and lime green. And it's the same exact red. So within all of these, the common color is going to be identical in one yarn as it is in the corresponding yarn. So the gray is identical within the sapphire blue and the orange. The orange is identical within the steel gray and the chili pepper red. the chili pepper red is identical within the orange and the lime green. And the lime green is identical within the chili pepper red and the sapphire blue. So this would be a blanket with all of them would be amazing, and watching all those color changes would be so fascinating. You could do that with a blanket, a shawl, what else? A vest, something, even a long scarf, a long wide scarf would be amazing. So then here is the fifth colorway, and that is the sapphire blue with the lime green, which then matches the lime green in the chili pepper lime. And then going back to the first color I showed you today, it also matches the steel gray and sapphire blue. Pretty cool, huh? So then I can show you all of them side by side now so you can see how they correspond with each other. And so we'll start on this side. We have sapphire, steel gray, then we have steel gray and orange, then we have orange and chili pepper and lime, lime and sapphire blue, and then back to sapphire blue and steel gray. So all of these are in stock now in Be So Bold yarn, so you can find them on my website. They're without photos. You know, I like to do that so you guys get the opportunity to shop first before everybody else. So if you're satisfied with seeing the colors on the screen right now, you can order before anyone else will find it. Is it a pretty soft yarn? It's extremely soft. Anybody that's used Be So Bold yarn, please share your thoughts, because I know everybody likes to hear testimonials. This is a combination of bamboo and cotton that is super duper buttery soft, and it's a number 4 worsted weight yarn. It's just super soft and cushy. What do we have one up here? I don't have a piece in it right here, but it is extremely soft. Jo says it'll be her first time using Be So Bold. You'll love it. Melissa says it's very, very soft. It is. It's very soft and squishy, and it has a bit of a matte finish to it because of the cotton. You know, bamboo has a sheen and cotton is a matte finish, so you can notice the differences with those yarns sometimes that way. But it's very squishy and very soft, buttery soft. Does anybody have any other questions? I don't think I can pin these up here. Oh, you know what I could do though? I could lay them out though up here, so you could see the colors that way. If anybody wants to see something up closer, be happy to, or combine any of them. I think they're all really nice bright colors for fall, because fall has a lot of gloominess, right? Yes, there are bright colors on the leaves, but the weather in general is kind of gray in fall and winter, and I thought doing bright pops of color might be cheerful for fall. Thanks, Edna. So then we have the sapphire, steel gray, then we have the orange peach with steel gray, then we have chili pepper red with the soft orange peach, then we have lime green with the chili pepper, then we have lime green with sapphire blue, and then to come full spectrum again, we're back to the steel gray with sapphire. And you can see each of those blends beautifully with the yarn sitting next to it, the adjacent yarn. Does anybody have any other questions? Oh, I'm not supposed to show this one at all. Get that one out of the camera. I could get in trouble for showing that one. Whoopsie. And wait for any questions that anyone might have. These are all in stock and in my shop now without photos. But I will be posting photos later and then sharing it publicly. So if there's something that you're excited about and you feel comfortable shopping from the colors shown on the video, I would I would take advantage of it now before something might get sold out in a little while. And then later this week, I'll have Be So Lush yarn for sale, and I'll also have our back in stock with new colors, and then I'll have Be So Cozy and Be So Toasty back in stock as well. Thanks, Judy. Do you... well, Terry, each one's about 240 yards of number 4 worsted weight yarn. So to do a full-size blanket, I'm not sure. But I'd have to think about that. I don't think you'd get a full-size blanket, but maybe a lapgan or something, because what would that be? 5 times 250, roughly 1,250 yards, not just slightly less. Somewhere in that range for worsted weight. I think you might get a lapgan or maybe a rectangular shawl, but I'm not sure. I mean, it'd be a decent sized lapgan, but it depends on what you mean by your Afghan, because it wouldn't fit a queen size bed or anything, but you could possibly get a lapgan or something. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? 1,200 yards or so of worsted weight yarn. Depending on if you're asking in knitting and crochet as well, because it does vary quite a bit between knitting and crochet, how many yards you need to do an Afghan. Or if you're doing lace or texture, so I'd have to know a little more information to know. Terry, you get 2 skeins each would definitely give you a lot more flexibility. I just think at 1 each, 1,200 yards, you'd be kind of pushing it. So yeah, definitely 2 each, you'd have more than enough to make a more generous size. Crochet. Okay, crochet, because knitting would take forever, but the flip side of that, Terry, is that it takes more yarn. So yeah, if you're going to do crochet, I would definitely recommend going into a second skein for each one, or ball, whatever, for each color. Becky likes the peach and gray. Thank you. Thanks. You're welcome, Terry. My pleasure. Let's see if there's any other questions. Cherie loves the sapphire and gray. Thank you. Tammy says they're all beautiful. Thank you. Terry's going to order today. That's great. Thank you very much. Becky wants to know how I name these colors. I did not go super fancy with these colors. I really just called them the actual legit color that I thought that they look, because I felt like there was so much else going on with explaining that they match, that I thought it would be simpler to not name them a romance. You know how I come up with some romance copy names a lot of times, where I'll call something based on a memory or a story or things that aren't necessarily color specifically related. And in this one, I decided to just call them, like calling that lime green instead of calling it something else. I just wanted to call them the color that I thought that they most accurately represented. This looks like a chili pepper red to me. This looks like a peach orange. This looks like a steel gray. This looks like a sapphire blue. So I kept them really simple because I was combining the 2 color names for each yarn so that they would match their counterparts within the shop. So I know that that's not the fanciest of ways that I've named things in the past, but I felt like it was the most effective for helping people figure out which yarns matched and went together. Hopefully that makes sense. Try to keep it simple and easy. I have kitty spectators this morning. Thanks, Becky. I'm glad that helped. Tammy's asking for my books for Christmas. That's great. Thank you. Gosh, I've got sneak peeks on my desk too. Gotta hide so much today. I've been working at. I don't know what Joanne's trying to say. Joanne, I don't know if you're trying to ask me or you're trying to ask somebody else. If you're asking me, yeah, maybe you're asking other people. I live in Florida, but I don't know who you're talking to. I just see you keep asking, where do you live? Cherie had KO Christmas last year, hopefully one again this year. Wow, I hope that, yeah, if you've been a good girl all year. Just kidding, of course you have. Joanne, I live in Southwest Florida. Thank you, Esther. Yes, these are the new colors of Be So Bold yarn, and if you go back and watch the replay, you can see where I explained with a chart how I came up with the colors and how they all match together. So it's very interesting, and hopefully you get a chance to watch the replay and get to go through that again, because I'm excited about it, but really happy to hear that you guys are excited about this concept that I came up with this weekend. And the colors, all of this is in stock on my website now. I have not listed photos, so you guys are getting the first chance to order before anyone else even finds out about them. Yes, Terry, it's under Be So Bold yarn. I brought my computer just to be sure, but yes, I listed these in stock before we went live. Let me just double check. It's under Be So Bold yarn. Let me double check here. Be So Bold. Yep, they're in there. Maybe you were looking at a different yarn, because it's under it. This is Be So Bold yarn, and you'll find all the colors on the drop down box. Is bamboo yarn safe for hair? Yes, it's safe for hair. I don't understand what you're asking though. Bamboo yarn is perfectly safe for hair. It's perfectly safe for skin. Definitely good for chemo caps as well, because it's so soft and hypoallergenic. Sandshell, bold. Be So Bold is worsted weight yarn. Yes, number 4 worsted weight. Yeah, a Kentucky fan would like the gray and the sapphire blue. Yes, I agree. I think there's a couple of school colors up there. Isn't there a Texas school that has orange and gray too? I could be wrong. I'm sure a lot of these are school colors now that I'm looking at it. But back to that question about bamboo being safe for hair, I want to know in what respect you're worried about hair, because it's not a question I get asked often. I get asked often which of my yarns are safe for people without hair, like for chemo caps, and most of my yarns are extremely well suited for sensitive skin. Be So Baby is super soft. Be So which is the milk fiber. My cottons are very soft for chemo caps, and so are the bamboos. In fact, Margaret Hubert used Be So Sporty yarn for a chemo cap in one of her books. The Granny Square book, she used Be So Sporty yarn in there for a chemo cap, and I've had lots of people make chemo caps in the bamboo yarn, specifically Be So Sporty. And I've made chemo caps in Be So Baby yarn as well. I'm wondering if it would dry your hair out. No, I have never heard anything like that. I don't think it would do any damage whatsoever to your hair. I don't. But good question, because I've never heard it before. It's not every day I hear a question that I haven't heard before. I like being kept on my toes. What weight of yarn is best for hats? Sandshell is asking. That's a great question too. There is no wrong weight of yarn for hats. It's about what kind of attributes do you want your hat to have. Do you want it to be super dense for a super cold day? Do you want it to be light for a more intermediate day? Do you want it to take a long time to make? Do you want it to take a short time to make? Do you want it to be bulky or thin? What kind of stitch work do you want to use? And how much do you want your stitch work to show? All of these things are considerations in choosing a yarn for a hat. Also, do you want it to be something that you can machine wash or hand wash or all sorts of things? So one thing that I would say is if you want to make a hat quickly, I would veer towards a number 4 worsted weight yarn. But if you wanted to do something really delicate and fine, I think a sport weight number 2 would be beautiful in a hat. I've made hats in number 2 sport weight yarn, like Be So Sporty yarn, that turn out beautiful. I've done hats in Be So Soulful, which is my number 2 sock weight yarn. But then I've also done hats in number 3 DK weight, like Be So Baby, and I've done hats in number 4 worsted weight, like in Be So Brave, Be So Bold, and Be So Cozy. So, and Be So Tender. And, you know, obviously the thicker the yarn, the quicker the hat is to make and the warmer it is, but sometimes warm isn't always the goal. What if you wanted to make a hat for fall or spring? Then you don't necessarily need it to be as bulky. So yes, and linen, my number 2 sport weight linen yarn for sun hats. Thanks for the reminder, Cherie. Yes. So it really depends on what the goal is for your hat. What attributes do you want your hat to have? Because all sorts of weights of yarn can do all sorts of different things, including be a sun hat like the number 2 sport weight linen yarn, which makes beautiful sun hats, as we all know. And Sporty makes very fine hats for chemo patient hats, or just for a lighter weight hat for spring and fall. So I mean, does that answer your question? Let's see if you have any further questions about that, because it is a great conversation to have. Because choosing yarn, there's so many different ways to determine what yarn to use for a project, right? Thanks, Sandshell. I mean, and that's just to talk about a hat. We could go on and on all day about choosing yarns for all different reasons, and choosing yarns for different recipients. And do you think your recipient is going to be okay with machine washing or hand washing? That opens up different conversations about different fibers as well. Of wool that isn't superwashed, you have to tell your gift recipient that it's hand washed or it's going to felt. Is that something that, and you know, sometimes you know your gift recipient and sometimes you don't. And is that something you think that they're going to be okay with or not? So there's definitely lots to think about. So as long as a yarn isn't a felting yarn, a non-superwash wool, anything else can be machine washed. It just really has to be very delicate, especially because of the nature of handmade goods. That's why I think it's a great idea to add a laundry bag. Where do I have one in here? Probably not. Wouldn't that be a good product placement? Anyway, my laundry bags make a great supplemental gift. So does a bottle of Wrapture. So a bottle of Wrapture and a laundry bag make a fantastic supplemental gift anytime you're giving a handmade item, because then you're sending it along with washing instructions and the tools to be successful at washing something. And that's assuming that it's not something that's going to be that could be felted. Yeah, there, Carrie. So if you're giving your brother wool hats that are not superwashed, they're pure untreated wool, and he's at least respects it enough to give his hats to someone else to hand wash, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. What does Wrapture do to the yarn? It doesn't do anything to the yarn. That's the point. It is a completely non-toxic, no rinse, delicate wash that is great for the fibers, kind of like washing your hair. It's shampoo and conditioner for your hair, which is kind of what fiber is, but it's non-toxic, very delicate, has no harsh chemicals in it, and it's a no rinse formula, so it's super duper easy for hand washing your handmade items. It can also be used in the washing machine as well, because it's so chemical free that it doesn't even have the sudsing agent that a lot of soaps have. So you can even use it in the high efficiency machines, which means you could put it in a front loader as well. Really cool stuff. I sell it on my website. It's available in lingerie shops, baby shops, and yarn shops all over the world. It's available in Amazon Prime all over the world too. It's made by Eucalan, a family-owned company in Canada, and I developed their Wrapture scent, which has the essential oil of night blooming jasmine as the scent, and they sell it unscented and in several other scents as well, all with just natural essential oils, not synthetic fragrance. All right, so looks like we're almost out of time. I thought I had a Create, Share, Inspire notebook with me. I don't. Let me go grab one. There was one on my desk. Hi, baby Bjorn. You being a good boy? Yeah, who's a good boy? Okay. I grabbed number 6. Let's see where. Oh, I think my number 7's arrived this week too. I have to take a look. I know I saw a box. It's been a very busy weekend. Lots of working. Let's see where we are. Okay. Oh, this is a nice one. This is by Anatole France. To know is nothing at all. To imagine is everything. Oh, from a creative standpoint, isn't that just the best? Who doesn't like, if you're a creative person, which I know most of you are, otherwise you wouldn't be watching my podcast. Isn't it great validation to know that being creative is so important to your overall well-being? I love this. To know is nothing at all. To imagine is everything. Thank you, Anatole France. Love validation and reminders that being creative and thinking creatively is healthy and good for us. So what a great little boost first thing on a Monday morning. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes with me. I hope you enjoyed my show and tell and my demo of the new colors of yarn. I'll post a link to Be So Bold yarn in the video description when we're done, but you can find it on my website if you go to kristinomdahl.com or follow the link in the video description. There's a bunch of links there. You can definitely find my yarn page, and it's, I think, the 6th or 7th yarn down. It's pretty easy to find. And all of these colors are in stock now without photos so that you have the first opportunity to buy them before it goes public. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Oh, I didn't even mention, we have a 500th episode coming up tomorrow, and I'm still debating what time I'm going to do it. We might do it first thing in the morning instead of in the evening, but I will give you an update in a couple of hours when I know for sure. So tomorrow is going to be the 500th episode, so yay! Hope you all can join me, and I will be sending out an email and give some updates later today with the time and any other details I need to share with you. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.